Assessment is important in any learning and teaching environment. It shows us what has already been learnt and informs what needs to be learnt next. Traditionally, in English language learning, tests have been the main form of assessment. These are usually given at the end of a learning cycle, for example, an end of semester or end of year test. This type of testing is called summative assessment. Students have one chance to demonstrate their learning. At the other end of the scale, we have Assessment for Learning, or AFL. AFL is a set of strategies and procedures which help teachers and students to monitor and assess progress throughout the school year in a child-friendly and motivating way. It's ongoing or formative, so it's not only the end result that is important, but also how the learning took place and what effort went into that learning. It means that students are given more than one opportunity to demonstrate their learning. AFL is there to help teachers and learners alike. It's not a whole new way of teaching, but a set of strategies that will enhance learning and teaching. What's key for success is not only knowing what these strategies are, but using them regularly and systematically as part of your classroom routine. There are countless benefits to using Assessment for Learning with primary and secondary students, both for teachers and for learners. Let's take a look at the benefits for students first. Through regular self-reflection, both before and after learning takes place, students become more aware of their own strengths and development areas. This means they are less reliant on the teacher for feedback and praise and gradually become more autonomous and independent learners. AFL takes into consideration the learning strategies that children use and the effort they put in. Everyone has a chance to succeed and feel a sense of achievement, making it great for mixed ability groups and for raising self-esteem. Since AFL focuses more on the process of learning than the end product, the stress and pressure of final exams is alleviated, which helps ensure children have a positive experience of learning, setting them up for life in the 21st century. And finally, including AFL as a regular classroom routine gives students the tools and confidence to react more directly to what's happening in lessons. They become much more able to express interest, understanding, and to ask for clarification when they need it, which is key for progress in language learning. Let's look at the teacher benefits now. Every teacher wants to develop good rapport with their students, and Assessment for Learning can help facilitate a positive working relationship. AFL helps students see that the teacher is there to help and support rather than to test and scrutinise, making the learning environment a positive and enriching one. AFL gives teachers a very comprehensive picture of the abilities of each individual student, which makes it easier to cater lessons to their particular needs and make decisions about what to focus on, what to skip, and how much time and support children will need. With AFL, each child is assessed within the context of his or her own abilities, so teachers are less likely to make comparisons between students which aren't always fair. Teachers are able to recognise the achievements of each child, whether large or small. When using AFL, teachers don't need to wait until the end of semester test to assess progress. This improves learning outcomes for all children as feedback is more immediate. What's more, this information can easily be shared with caregivers who are often anxious about their children's progress in English and want regular updates on what happens in the classroom. And finally, if AFL becomes a regular classroom routine, children know what to expect and what is expected of them, which has a positive impact on classroom management. Teachers too have a better understanding of how children respond in the classroom, making it easier to react to difficulties and adjust teaching methods where necessary. Assessment for Learning is not a whole new way of teaching, and there are undoubtedly many things you already do in your classroom which align with AFL. Therefore, it can easily be integrated into your lessons. In this video, I'll be giving you an overview of some key AFL strategies which we'll look at in more detail in the upcoming videos in this series. If AFL is new for you, then don't worry. You don't have to introduce everything at once, but over time, these techniques should ideally become part of your classroom routine. At the start of each lesson, students find out the topic for the day and what they will be learning about. This is revisited at the end of the lesson when students reflect on what they learnt, how they learnt it, and what they still need to do to improve. The teacher actively observes students according to predetermined criteria. This could be how well students participate during pair work, what strategies they use to find the answers to reading comprehension questions, or how many answers they get correct in a vocabulary exercise. This information is recorded throughout the year and can be used to give constructive and personalised feedback. Another way teachers can assess each student's progress is by using the student response cards. A key part of AFL is to help students to learn from each other. This involves being able to reflect on their own work and on the work of their classmates. Plenty of pair work is key, as well as helping students to give positive and constructive feedback. This strategy is based on a number of reflective questions which promote autonomous, more independent learning. It includes things such as learning diaries, portfolios, and can-do statements. Assessment for learning isn't another buzzword. It's an addition to your teacher toolkit that makes teaching and learning more rewarding and successful. You don't need to implement all the strategies all at once. Experiment and see what works for you and your students. And remember, AFL doesn't have to replace summative assessment. It can be used in tandem with the more traditional testing techniques that students, schools and parents all expect. And it doesn't only happen once or twice in a semester. I strongly recommend it becomes part of your regular teaching practice to enhance every lesson you teach. I hope you can join me in the next video in this series, when I'll be giving you practical ways to set aims and criteria for success in your classroom.